Well, I know from the last video about my big announcement that we were moving that I left a lot of loose threads. So let's pull on some of those loose threads, that's hard to say, and see where they take us. But let's clip some of them off and I'll just go ahead and answer them right away. Number one, a lot of you had asked about whether or not we were going to be moving out of state into Colorado. So I want to give you a brief explanation of that. We had had property in Salida, Colorado for probably 20-25 years. And this past year, we found out that the area contiguous to our property was going to be developed. Now, where we had our property was 6 acres of unobstructed views of the Collegiate Peaks, and my vision and my dream for that location was not to be in a neighborhood or even near a neighborhood. So because of that, we decided to sell that property, and our dream will morph. I don't know how it will morph, but it will morph in a different way because we do adore Salida. My kiddos, of course, still live in Denver. They may be buying a house soon, and that might inform it. So that's number one. Our original dream was we were going to have 2 small places. Now our dream is that we have maybe one nicer place, and then that other dream, well, it's just one of those strings we'll keep pulling on. Well, number two, and by the way, I've got my jacket on because we just came over to the house and the heat was off. Number two, I cannot express to you how appreciative I am of all of the support you showed.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. As I told you, I was nervous about making the announcement, and so for those of you, and I think I was nervous because I thought I might get some pushback that I don't know, that people would think I was crazy for leaving that beautiful house, which is one of the reasons that I went through that very, very lengthy, I know, very lengthy explanation of our reasons for leaving that house. And I did that not just because some of them may resonate with you, so if you did endure all of that section, I appreciate it, but also because, as I said in that segment, it helped me understand by saying it out loud to you and helped affirm our decision. So I just cannot thank you enough for being so supportive, and also for giving me some really great ideas and really great feedback, some of which I had already identified and some of which I had not. And one of them being, I did recognize this when I bought the house, that as charming as this white ledge might look above my gas range, it's not very practical, either for aesthetic purposes or also because it might be a fire hazard. So I'll be thinking through what I need to do to kind of modify this area, and I'm not going to be cooking here for a little while anyway. So some of you, it was an interior designer who pointed this out. Thank you so much for doing that. If you notice other kinds of things that I might be missing, then please do tell and share in the comments below. So that is one thing that I will have to modify and that I did recognize at the outset. Let's go on to number 3. Well, a number of you asked why I didn't show more of the garden or the landscape, and it's because it is pretty much a blank landscape, something that was also on my checklist of things I was looking for in my next home. Now, you may not be surprised that I have already started on a plan with my friends Roger, John, and Kayla, and we will be working my plan over the next several months before I can really start playing with it aggressively. Obviously, I'm going to be partnering with Southern Living Plant Collection on a lot of these things. They have a new boxwood coming out called Better Boxwood that's blight resistant. So you guys know that I'm kind of a boxwood slut. I will be using a lot of it here, but it's still a little bit chilly outside. I will show you the outdoor spaces a little bit later, so that I kind of don't tease you too much, because I know I have just been a terrible tease lately. The backyard is definitely smaller than what I have had in the past. The front yard is a little bit bigger, but it is very much going to be a fun place for me to work with. And I think, as some of my new neighbors have already told me, this is going to be a really pivotal significant spot on the street and in the neighborhood because it's on a corner, which comes with both pros and cons. But because of that, I do anticipate, and maybe I'm being vain here, but I do anticipate that it will be quite a showstopper in the spring. Not this spring, but next spring when there's 1,000 tulip bulbs in bloom right on the corner. Do you think so, Stuart?
I think that, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to look good down the street coming up to it. Yeah.
Right. So that was my number 3. Let's move on to number 4. Okay, number 4 is one of the reasons I love you guys, because you give me such good insights into things. Now, I had told you that previously when we thought about how we were going to lay out the great room, that we envisioned having the TV above the mantle. But so many of you gave me practical input, especially I think helpful to me because I'm not a TV person, so I don't think about these issues, but a lot of you did, and the information was invaluable. So number 1, a lot of you said how awful it would be to ruin this really beautiful vista when you walk in with just a TV there. Now, a lot of you recommended some, I think it was Michelle, was it you that told me that the Samsung TV is one of the brands that enables you to have on a piece of art on your screen at all times. I guess you can probably change that. So that would make the frame, okay. So that would make this area look not quite so industrial, so utilitarian. But then again, I still wouldn't have a showcase for a beautiful piece of art. Now, this Shapiro is definitely too big for this space, but Hubs and I are playing with the artwork. Now, a number of you also suggested that it would be imprudent to put it there because if you're watching TV, I guess, from different locations, you're going to have to be looking up and craning your neck. And obviously, I don't, you know, we have as much neck strain as I have as much neck strain as I already need just from gardening. So that's another consideration that I don't think I would have thought of, not being a TV person. Now, a number of you also, and I'll be getting more feedback on this, and please, if you are in the know on these kinds of issues, please comment below. But a number of you recommended that I put it on an arm over here, and that way it could swivel, and also that way if I put my husband's dad chair over there, he could easily look out the window and or see the TV as he so chose. Now, the other issue that I'm wondering about, though, is there is a big window here, which probably will be modified some and will definitely have some kind of, at this point, window treatment on it. But I'm wondering, Stuart, am I going to get some kind of harsh shadows or glare or something?
Not so much in the corner.
If I put the TV over here?
In the room that won't get a shadow.
Okay, so I would appreciate any kind of expertise.
Kind of what I said, because they can't hear me. I'm not mic'd.
Okay. So
said that's one of the spots in the room that probably
Stuart just said, and yes, I will get him mic'd up in the future, but Stuart just said that maybe in the corner it would be one of the few places that I wouldn't have glare.
Because everywhere over here, that's where the lights shine.
That's where the lights shine on it. So that may be an option. And again, it's something I wouldn't have thought of. You guys are just brilliant. And I could also then make it go flat against the wall, and I would not ruin this great focal point. You guys know how I love a good focal point. I wouldn't ruin the focal point of the artwork that's going to be there. Now, I'm also thinking...
You can't put a frame camera on a swivel.
Okay, I can't put a frame, so that, obviously, that's an issue.
There'll be some thoughts.
There'll be some thoughts to that. I'm not going to show you too much of the backyard except just do a quick swipe, Stuart, so people can see that it's a blank slate. And yes, a number of you expressed concern, this is number 5, a number of you expressed concern about the lack of privacy because I'm on a corner, and I am taking taking efforts to mitigate that problem. And I will be doing that in a number of different areas, in my bathroom here, obviously on the windows, those kinds of things. So thank you for your concern about my welfare and my safety and my privacy. And that definitely is something that we will be taking into account. I think I told you that Hubs and I are also considering making this a casement window so that we can open it up, because if light is a priority for me, I think just feeling the wind and real sun on and real fresh air on his face is a priority of Hubs. And so it may be that we look into the possibilities of that. That is to be thought about in the future. Number 6, a lot of you asked about, okay, what about all the stuff that was out in the studio? Well, obviously, I will not have that kind of studio outside. There may be another kind of studio that we have to have in the future, but right now we will be shooting from different locations here and a couple of other probably temporary locations until we get situated. So that wonderful groaning board old table that was out in the studio will be in here in the great room. This is an idea that I have seen a number of different places, from India Hicks to Bunny Williams to Bunny Mellon. Lots of bunnies. Let's just put it, lots of bunnies. Let me put it that way. And I just love the idea and the concept of what will be termed the book bar. So you guys know how I love my books, and you also know how I love my glass of wine, and every once in a while even a whiskey, even though it's dry January right now. But I think this will be really fun. It'll be great for entertaining, and also I will be able to move this table to different locations, including even outside, if I want to use it as a dining table, because I do not have a dining room. But that will be okay, because let me fill you in on number 6. Now, in lieu of a formal dining room, I have a dining area, and we're going to be putting a table right here, and then obviously this massive counter, I'll have bar stools at it, and we will have a number of bar stools and a secondary seating area. I was asking Hubs the other day where he envisioned that just the two of us would be taking most of our meals, and he said he thought it would be right here. Now, I want to finish out this video with which is probably the best piece of advice that I got when we made our big announcement, and that was that this island is going to be a clutter magnet. And I recognize that, and I also recognize, as intent as I am on enhancing the focal points, both inside and outside, I know that when you walk in, this is the focal point. So there will be a rule, will there not, Stuart?
I've already heard it.
He's already heard it.
I already broke it too.
Already broke it. That except for maybe garden plans, nothing can be on this island. In other words, you just cannot come in and dump all your stuff on this island. I have also instructed my husband to that effect, and it will require, I promise you, lots of tutelage and lots of both punishment and reinforcement, I'm sure, to enact it. So what I'm going to have to do, I think, is come up with an alternative, both in the front and the back, of places where people can just kind of dump their things. But very much I appreciate the number of you that said that this will be a clutter magnet, and so as not to minimize the beauty and the drama of this beautiful marble island, I will take that into account, and I will start being the enforcer right away. I've got one more thing I want to share with you. So lastly, and it will be our second really major announcement. So many of you have asked, have I already sold my house? Do I know who I am selling it to, or to whom I am selling it? Yes, it was sold within a matter of days of our buying this new house. Actually, I knew who was going to buy it prior to that. It did not go on the market. It is someone that we know, and someone who, more importantly, I think will be so respectful of the garden itself and the integrity of the house. So I'm not in a position to say anything right now, but rest assured that you guys will be the first to know once I can make that second major announcement, who will be living in the fairy tale house.